Live.
Hi, guys. All right. Tanya, good to see you. Annette. And can you come on down, please? Thelma. Is it just the three?
That's all.
Okay. Well, some of the others will join us when they wake up. Okay. Well, today we're going to make mermaid cards, and I'm so excited about these because they turned out so pretty. Hi, Mary T. They turned out so very pretty. However, I showed them to my class last night, and they all got out of order. I had cut all the pieces again because that worked pretty well last time. And yeah, the cards got out of order with the with the materials. So I'm having to look real quick here and see which ones go where. But I'm getting it figured out pretty quick. I got 4 out of 6 done. I'm doing all right. Okay. Well, it's really nice to have you come to the forefront and say hello to us, Tanya. We love having new crafty friends. And not only are we doing beautiful mermaid kits, cards, kids. I read you somebody comment about a kid just as I said that. Not only are we doing beautiful mermaid cards, we are also making beautiful envelopes. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's take a look at one of our cards. We'll have to pick out the envelopes that go with them as we go. Here's the first of our beautiful cards today. Wish upon a starfish. Let me open it up. These cards also have pop-outs on them. Hope Glenn drops in today because he's one of the ones who had requested more pop-ups. So we got beautiful pop-ups inside. Fun starfish. Let me show you another one or two. Born to be a mermaid. We've got a fun fish. There's Glenn. Hi, mister. Uh-oh. Well, we will think the best for Catherine. I'm sure she'll be well soon. I've got good meds to help asthma at the hospital. It was probably a good decision to go. Here's the third. Glenn, you asked for pop-up cards. How do these suit you? Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, let's, without further ado, let's just start making some of these, shall we? Okay. Oh, and I'll show you the envelopes as we go. I have to find the proper envelope. I was more concerned about getting the card supplies together than I was to matching the envelope. Okay. All right. These cards come as a full, and you have to score them. The nice thing about that is it gives you the option to do more than just make regular 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 envelopes or cards out of them. But we're making 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I went ahead and scored all these because you didn't need to watch me score lines on cards. But let's get started with this. The first thing we're going to do here is do some inking. Move some of my other supplies around here. So in your kit, you get the lovely lilac hybrid ink pad. And we're going to, I had one open and mine has been very well used and was getting dry. I tried putting ink refresher on it. Don't do that with a hybrid pad. It didn't like it. And it stopped working almost altogether. Hi, Brenda. Good to see you. All right, let's see. I have a inking tool here. We're going to start by doing a little inking around all the edges of our card. These hybrid pens are not really inky to begin with, so you have to kind of rub your tool pretty good on there to pick up some ink. If it gets a little blotchy here and there, don't worry, because we're going to put covers over these. I'm just going to whip in and get this done real quick. Now, they do a couple of things on these cards, and we might as well do this while we're at it. We're making our own waves on the cards. So to do that, you're going to grab the, this must go here. We're going to grab the cover of your booklet, and you're going to tear. We're going to tear some waves out of our cover. So we want, they don't have to be real regular. It's nice if they look something like waves, but they may or may not. It's early, you know. When you showed up at 10 o'clock, Thelma, I was still sleeping. Okay, let's see if that's wide enough. That looks just about wide enough. I think we'll... Okay, so I just roughed up the edge of my cover. I'm going to put it down here at the bottom of my card. Now I'm on the inside of my card. We've already inked the outside. I'm going to fold this back and go to the inside of my card. I'm going to put my edge down along here. I'm going to get as much ink as I can on my little blender brush. And I'm going to blend my ink right along the edge here. You can't see it yet, but this is going to be a wave. When I get it nice and inky along that edge, I'm going to move my paper a little bit. And I'm going to expose some more white. I'm going to ink it again, which is going to make my first layer darker. And I'm going to add a little ink to the top. And then I'm going to move it one more time. And we're going to create something that's sort of like white caps on our waves by adding a little lighter ink the third time. And what we end up with is a kind of a rough ocean. Now we're going to turn this over, and I'm going to ink the other side of this card blank. I'll show you where I am. For orientation, I'm on the opposite side of my ocean at the bottom. Is it on heat or cool or fan?
Heat. 68.
That's where it's set. Just turn it on fan, please. Then neither one of us get heat or cool. Okay. So, I actually just inked this the wrong direction. I have some cards that will use this way too. So there's one done, but I need to do another card because I didn't ink it right. Oops. You're going to do 2 cards with this orientation, and we're going to do 4 cards that are like this, and the ink is on this side. So we didn't waste that. We'll be using it here shortly. Let's just ink up some more. I'm going to ink up all 4 sides. Okay, now, this time I'm going to ink it on the right panel, just for interest. And I'm going to go ahead and ink down here with a fair amount of ink on the bottom here. And move this just a little. And I'm going to give it another shot of ink. Hi, Irene. Good to see you, friend. And we're going to ink it lightly on the top. That looks good. We're going to turn this over and we're going to ink this. I could wipe off my table a bit. I got ink everywhere. Okay. We're going to ink around this panel. And again, all these panels are getting covered except for 1/4 of an inch, so it doesn't have to be a real fancy inking job. This lilac color goes perfectly with the card pack. It was a good inclusion in this kit. This hybrid ink pad will be a good addition to your collection. If you don't have these already, these are great ink pads. Now, they're a little drier than some that I use. They're not, they're not real wet, but they, the beautiful thing about working with a hybrid ink pad is that when you want to color in something that you've stamped, it won't draw the color. Okay, we're ready to start. I'm going to start my card here with this Born to Be a Mermaid print. This one out of your packet. It's cut to 4 by 5 1/4 to leave a nice little border around it. Their directions tell you to cut things to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I chose not to do that. I did do that with with my first cards, but what I found is it left me with a lot of smaller unusable scraps. And if you simply back that off to 4 inches wide, since this is an 8-inch pad, you can get a lot more for your money out of your pad by going with 4 by 5 1/4 and having just a little wider margins on this. So we're putting that down first. It's kind of a busy print. It's pretty. It'd be beautiful just by itself, put a tag on it, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to go to our next piece, which is this one. This one is cut to, what did I just do with the ruler? There it is. This one's cut to 3 by 4 inches. And we're actually just going to glue this right onto our background. We're going to center it. Hi, Kim. So I'm just going to glue this right onto the center. Just like that. Next, we're going to take this piece right here, which is actually the back of that one. This one's cut to 4.5 by 3.5. And we're going to need to use a trimmer that has a drop-down blade, because with this one, we are going to cut this into a frame. So I'm using a little tonic trimmer here. I like this one because it's cheap. I don't use the drop-down blade very often, and I don't need a real expensive trimmer for this. But it's a cheap one to get and use, and it has these really neat little marks on it that show me where I'm going. So I'm going to cut a 1/2-inch frame around the outside of this. So I am cutting my marks. I'm going from 4 to 1.5 with a 1/2-inch border. And on the narrow side, I'm going from 1/2 inch to 3 inches on the narrow side with a 1/2-inch border. And I'm going to pop out the centerpiece. Be sure you keep track of these, because in all cases we're going to use these. Okay? So I have my fun 1/2-inch border. I'm going to grab some foam tape here. I have this roll. Let me tell you what this is. This is called Crafty Foam Tape from Scrapbook Adhesives. I like the width of this for this project, because it's like 3/8 inch, which makes it perfect for putting down on these 1/2-inch. Glenn says Oregon plays Washington today. He's chatting with you.
Okay.
You can tell him what a sports fan you are by telling him we don't know what sport that is.
Well, I'm assuming that's football.
We're diehard sports fans in our household. Not.
That's your sister's family.
My sister's family and Bryce's sister's family are all sports fanatics. We just say, oh, okay. So I'm putting my little frame around here. This is going to make a really neat frame, by the way. This is going to stand up, and that's going to command attention on the front of the card. We have a lot of sports fans on this stream. So what would you vote for in an Oregon versus Washington matchup, Bryce?
Well, Oregon, of course.
I think I might vote for Washington. That should be my home state. I'm an Oregon transplant. I'm born and raised in Washington. Okay, so we put our frame on there, and look how this thing begins to come together when you put the frame on it. Next, we're going to get some pieces of our ephemera out. One little piece of ephemera here that keeps trying to slide around. Okay, I'm going to get my mermaid, this mermaid. I'm going to get a couple of shells from here. I'm going to get this fish for the inside. And I'm going to get these two shells. And then I should have a tag here. Where's my tag? Well, I might have to add it when I come across it. Huh. My tag's not here. I'll add it. Oh, there it is. It just fell off. There it is. Okay. I'm going to start by putting my tag down. And to add further dimension, I'm just going to put adhesive on one. Well, I'm going to put adhesive on both ends of my tag. But I'm only going to attach the side piece here.
Mary R.
Hey, Mary R, it's good to see you. All right. So I'm attaching it on the frame here and on the inside here. So it's kind of dropping back behind because I'm going to put my mermaid right along the side here. And she's going to go over that tag just a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on my mermaid's tail and on this little swirly at her back. I'm going to put adhesive along the side where it's going to catch and up onto this little curly. And we're going to go ahead and stick our mermaid on the front. Then we're going to take some shells to do this side piece here. So I'll put one kind of across that corner. And I'm going to put the scallop shell on top of that and off. So it's going to be down here. And what we're going to end up with, come in closer please, is something quite pretty. Okay, we're going to go to the inside of our card and we're going to put this funny looking little fish along the top of our waves. He's out of our ephemera pack too. The only way you can get the ephemera pack now is in the card kits. They're sold out of the ephemera separately. So if you want to make these cards and you don't already have the ephemera, you're going to have to buy the ephemera in order to be able to make these cards. We're going to go to the inside and I'm going to take this this piece here, the purple with all the fish in the sea. I love you more than all the fish in the sea. And I'm going to glue that onto this panel. Oh, and this one is also cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So once again, we're taking advantage of the fact that we can get 2 out of a sheet if we cut that down from 4 1/8 to 4, which isn't much of a sacrifice to make in their card making, but it sure does save you a lot of paper. Okay, next we're going to get this piece. And I want you to look at this. This is cut right out of the border sheet. And it just tells you to cut these out. It doesn't tell you really specifically how wide it will be. And so I think I got all of mine, all 6 of my cards out of one piece of paper that was this border sheet. This is going to be 5 and I believe 5 1/4, but let me look. Yes, this is going to be 5 1/4 inches long. And you can get all 6 of these from one sheet. You may just have to vary the width just a little bit, but shoot for something that's an inch or so wide. It can be a little wider than an inch in part of them. And you're going to score this. You're going to score this at 5/8, at 4 1/8, and at 4 3/4, so that we will have fold lines. I pre-scored all these too. So I'm going to end up with a piece that looks like this. Okay? I'm going to put glue on this tab right here, on the 5/8 inch tab. And I'm going to put glue onto the end tab, which is like a 1/2 inch wide. I'm going to fold my 5/8 inch tab, and I'm going to place that right just to the left of my fold line in my card. Then I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it back out completely. I'm just going to run my finger across, and we'll determine where the other side of that pop-up goes by just running it across, so that when the card opens, that pops up. See there? The pop-up mechanism is really quite simple. Again, we're taking a 5 1/4 inch piece. We're scoring it at 5/8, at 4 1/8, and 4 3/4 to get this pop-up mechanism. Okay, we're going to take this piece we saved from the front, and you can always look, it's the inside of the frame, so if you need to remember which side of the paper it goes with, you can look at the front of your frame, and we want this viney blue. And I'm going to put this viney blue down in here. I'm just going to test this to make sure that it's going to fit my pop-up. So before I glue things down, see, I don't want it hanging out the edge. So I'm going to start by gluing this about 1/4 inch. Yeah, about 1/4 inch in on my pop-up mechanism. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball where that's going to go across the back here. I'll move in a little bit more. And now I'm going to take this piece, which is from my cutout sheet. It's this one with the big oyster shell and the mermaid swimming to the bottom. And I'm going to glue this along the left and the bottom. Making sure that it's going to stay inside. And there we go. Isn't that beautiful? What a fun card to give somebody. What do you guys think? Is that just fun? The colors are beautiful. The pieces are beautiful. Who doesn't love a mermaid? Okay, that part's done. Now, let's do the envelope. And let me see which envelope I'm going for. Seize the day. We're going to make an envelope to match. Now, you actually can decorate the front of your envelopes, although I will caution you that this tag here is almost too big for putting on there if you're going to mail this through the mail. Keep it smaller and go with some of the little tags if you're going to put this in the mail, because you need to be a ½ inch away from your address if you're going to put it in the mail. You can do this, but go with some of the smaller tags. Okay? So let's make this envelope. Once again, we're going to get our little ocean waves out here. Let me re-tear this. I'm not totally happy with my waves, but it's good enough for the envelope. Yeah, the great thing about these is that you can do these techniques, whatever the paper pad is that you're using. Let's go just a little more conservative with our inking than I did on the other one and see how low we can go with the tag. I think we could also trim that tag down a little bit to save some space. Even if I go way down, it's not gonna, I'm gonna just trim this tag down and see how small we can get this and still, just because I'm thinking about mailing it. I'm just trimming off the frame. They have little triple lines on the frame. Now this would be better. And I can put on my Seize the Day tag. Just grab one of the smaller tags, so there's plenty of choices of things to use here. I'll put that down in the corner so we have plenty of room to write. But in order for it to go through their processing machines, there needs to be a ½ inch of space around the address. Okay, I'm going to take my envelope flap and I'm going to, hi Adeline, I'm not sure I said hi to you. I'm going to run my little glue bottle right around the edges of the flap. I'm going to put this piece of paper that I've pre-cut. Let me tell you what size that is. I just measured the envelope flap. This is 2.5 by 5.5. And I could get 4 of these. The seashell paper was not directional. So I could get 4 of these out of 1 seashell paper. Make sure I push it clear up to the top. And just cut around the flap. It looks like I got that just a tad short. So I'm going to do a little inking at the edges. There we go. So there we go. We've got our beautiful envelope. We've got our gorgeous card. One down, 5 to go. Slides in nice. It's not terribly thick. And we've got that one finished. All right, let's choose another here. I don't think these need to be running downhill. I'll be losing all my pieces. Okay, this is the one we're going to do next. It's another vertical. Let's get our card out. And I have lots of fun pieces here that I've already accumulated. Okay. We're going to start by inking our edges. So we get that pretty lavender edge around our paper, which goes so well with the papers in this set. The ink pads included in your kit. In your kit, you're going to get the ink pad. You're going to get an 8x8 pad. You're going to get the ephemera. You'll get your little collector's button.
Brenda's comment regarding cataract surgery.
Oh, poor Brenda. I'm going to go ahead and do my inking around the edges of this one. Again, it doesn't matter if I get the ink way out there because I'm covering that with paper anyway, so I can go pretty quick. Just get some ink put down around here. Oh, that's fun. Telling you that you're going to be able to meet your friends for time in North Carolina. Okay, get my wave pattern here. Hold my card back the other way. So I'll do 3 rows of inking. The top one is kind of our white cap, so it's lighter. Okay, we've got our inking done. We'll go back to our front cover. And this one is going to use that beautiful shell paper. So we're going to use this beautiful shell paper and 4 by 5 1/4 and put it down there. And I'll show you the difference between these two cards. After I put this down, you're really not sacrificing much of anything, and you're gaining a half a sheet of paper on each one of these cuts where I substituted my 4" for the 4 1/8. I'll show you the border differences between the two of them. It's not objectionable at all, and it saves you so much paper. So here's the one we just did. Our tutorials on using the paper that you using paper that you do not like, ways to use it up. I have so much that I thought, how pretty, but it now, ugh. You know what? You can go into that paper stash, Tanya, and find things that coordinate and try some of these very techniques and use up some of your other paper. And what I would suggest is, since you wouldn't most likely have ephemera that matches it, look for paper that you can cut things out of and put those on your frames. So here is the 4 and an 1/8 inch border. See, it just barely shows. Here's mine that shows a little bit. There's nothing objectionable at all about that. And like I said, I save half a piece of paper on every one of them by changing that dimension just a little bit. Okay, my glue down piece this time is going to be this one. This glue down piece is 3 by 4 inches. This is really kind of becoming the back of our frame, isn't it? It's on the back of this one. Use this one a lot. I'll go ahead and put that on here, just kind of centering it. We're going to use this one, which is the back of the title page. This one, and we're going to make our frame out of it. So we'll get our drop-down cutter out here again. It's just so easy. I'm lining up to 1/2 inch over here on my cutting edge. I'm cutting it, or I'm lining it up to 1/2 inch, and then I'm moving my blade from 1/2 inch to 4. Flip it around, do the same thing, line it up to 1/2 inch on my cutting surface, and move from 4 to 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to cut these end pieces by lining it up to 1/2 inch and then going from 1/2 inch to 3, because I don't want to cut beyond my width. And one more time. And pull that off. Pop this centerpiece out, and we another thing you can do with some of that paper, Tanya, is change the color of some of that paper. I've done a lot of that too. You know, with some of those old stashes of paper, you can use some of the mixed media solutions and stuff and just change the color. And that's fun. You can give it, or you can use those pieces as a background for working with your, what do you call that again now? The, come on guys, help me out. The, you could use it as background paper for like your Jamie sparkles and just cover it up. Or on, Roberta's always the one who's wanting to remind me about using the, what's it called? She's out there stomping up and down and saying, remember, the, oh, I can't remember now. We're using a mat and we're peeling our paper off the mat, putting our color down on the mat, and we're peeling our paper off. What's that called, guys? We did it last year. Oh, that's a good one, Toma. Don't forget about die cutting some of those papers. Some of the papers that don't look fun in full sheets look absolutely gorgeous when you die cut them into other things. So that's another option. Okay, we've got our foam down on our square. It's printing, but what's it called? Printmaking. That printmaking technique with the mat, almost the silicone mat. And then when you get down to the stuff you just never ever going to use, donate it to your local art department in your schools, in your grade schools.
Gel press.
Gel press. Thank you, Mary T. I just could not wrap my mind around that terminology. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Yes. Okay. All right. We're going to get three of our ephemera pieces out. We want wishing on a starfish. We want this mermaid. Has her tail up in the air. And we want the clock. Make sure all the little pieces are knocked out of the clock. Sometimes they haven't all fallen out yet. And this may not be important to you, but it's really important to me. I always have to have the top of my clock at the top. And the image will be upright if you do that. So we're going to go ahead and put the clock down. It's going to overlap the edges of my frame just a little. And I'm going to glue that in behind. It's where these little tiny glue bottles come in really handy. To get all this adhered. And then I want put a little behind here. And we should be good to go. So I'm going to put the top of my clock at 12. I'm going to overlap just a little on my frame. And that looks good. That's where my clock is going. Okay. Now, wish upon a starfish is going to go at the bottom here, kind of centered between the two sides. Yeah, by working through using up as much of that paper as possible and donating the balance, then you get to go ahead and restock with some papers that you really like. And we all know what fun that is. Okay, I'm going to put the mermaid at the top of this right at the top of the tag. I'm going to put a little bit on her head. Oh, and she could have had just a little on her tail too. And I'm going to set my mermaid right on top of this tag, kind of centered. And she should adhere really nicely from there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's come to the inside of our card. And on the inside of this one, we're going to use a starfish. Excuse me, a seahorse. Let's try that with the correct animal. Get our seahorse in here. And rearing up out of the water. We're going to use our purple background paper. This is the back of the seashell paper. It's got these pretty little starfish all over it.
And I'm going to the colors of these papers.
Excuse me? Oh, I do too, Brenda. I absolutely adore the colors of these papers. This kit really speaks to me. I have to say, and you guys have heard me say this, that whatever is my favorite is what I'm working on at the time. But this one truly is probably one of my favorite G45 paper crafting kits I've done. I just love the way the designs work out. I really, really love them. And it's easy to get really stunning results. Okay, so we have our 5 1/4 inch piece of paper. We have pre-scored it at 5/8, at 4, oops, yeah, at 4 1/8, and at 4 3/4. So when we fold it, it looks like this. Okay, I'm going to put glue on the 2 end tabs, this one and this one. I'm going to attach my pop-up mechanism right at the fold line, just a little to the left of the fold line so everything still clears nicely. I'm going to lay this one out flat, except for that tab that's got the glue on it. And I'm just going to slide this over, and I'm going to attach it there so that when I open my card, there we go. That's looking beautiful. Okay, I need the centerpiece of our pearl sheet for my base here on one side, and then I'm using this out of my ephemera pack. Isn't that a beautiful piece? And it's so substantial too. It's beautiful. So I'm going to go fairly low with this one because that's going to have to go pretty high, isn't it? I'm going to go ahead and glue this in place, and then I'm going to measure the other one, make sure that it closes properly before I glue it down. I'm just going to come about 1/4 inch from the end of my pop-up mechanism with this one. Whoops, I glued it wrong. I'll take that glue off. I glued it around the edge. That's not what I wanted with this one. Excuse me. Okay. What I wanted was that inch of space where that bar goes across. I wanted to put my glue there. I do not want the glue to make my pop-up mechanism stick inside of here, right? That's why I took the extra glue off when I started to glue it around the edge. Make sure that's not tacky anymore. Let that just sit for a second. Let that background thank you, Adeline. That's fun, Adeline. You get birthday rewards. Okay, I'm just going to check this and make sure it's going to close right before I glue it. That looks good. That looks real good. So I'm going to put glue down what will be the left side and across the bottom, just where it's going to go over my base piece there. And I'm going to put that on just like I had it. And we have another card done. Look here. Here's our outside. Here's our inside. Warm coffee and warm feet. You got it right there, Glenn. Okay, let's see our envelope for this one. This is what our envelope looks like. You guys don't mind if in the interest of time that I dispense with making the envelopes, right? I'll show you the ones I made for each one. So I have a piece of my shell paper to go on the back, and I used my Make a Splash. And again, if you're going to be mailing these, you might cut Make a Splash down a little bit and put it real close to the corner so that you'll have plenty of room to address it, okay? Questions, comments about that? Is it all okay? Love these cards. Just love them. Okay, that one's done. Here, I'll get my plain envelope and put my pieces back in it. I actually doubled up the pieces on that somehow. So I'll put these with this. So when I go to make these off camera, I can get those envelopes done. Okay. All right. Let's see what we have next. You guys liking this? You think this is fun? I have a limited number of kits in stock right now, but I also have some more on the way from G45. If you like this one, don't wait too long to get it because they're already out of the ephemera. The kits are only going to last at G45 for as long as they have ephemera to make the kits. So, okay. So this is our next one. Love this one. Beautiful. So let's get our card out here. And of course, our very first activity is going to be inking. Inking is something I could have done in advance. I have to show you one of these ones that I inked. Look at this envelope, Irene. You have to excuse my little erasure there. It said card number 3 on it. But look at the inking I got on this one. I was using I used blue ink on some of these after I had the little debacle with the ink refresher on my lilac pad. I tried using the blue ink, and the blue is very it's very liquid compared to the lilac. And so I was using a stencil that had been used with the blue, and then I was using the purple, and it pulled that blue. Isn't that beautiful? So I like the way that one turned out. All right. So it'd be fun to use the blue and the purple together if you have it. Okay, let's go ahead. This is another vertical presentation. Eventually we'll get to use that horizontal envelope we made, or the card base we made. But not yet. We haven't hit that one yet. Oh, we're just getting a little ink around here. Okay, we'll go to our stencil piece. Let's try to close this, or open it anyway. Fold it back. That's what I'm trying to say, fold it back. Number 2. And let's put some little white caps on that. Just brushing that third layer lightly. And we got our waves. We're going to turn this over and we're going to ink all the way around this side. I'm excited that I'm going to have 12 of these. I'm using the hybrid pad, G45 Lovely Lilac. It's from G45, and it actually comes in your card kit. Adeline, it's right in the kit itself. And once again, it doesn't matter if my inking goes out a ways into my card. I can just work really quickly because we're going to cover that up with paper anyway. So all we're doing is trying to get an edge on there. Okay, let's go back to our front. On the front this time, we're going to use this beautiful scales pattern. It's on the back of this one. We're going to use the scales. And this is a little bigger than it should be. So I'm going to trim that down just a tad. Yeah, I cut it to 5.5 instead of 5 1/4. We want it to be 4 by 5 1/4. There we go. That looks good. Just remember, we were talking about it a minute ago, but you can use the materials you have at home, dig out some coordinating prints, and kind of just use the pattern for this and build your own cards using this card design. I love the frames. I like it's just such a simple concept to ink it, cut the background paper, and then cut a 3 by 5. You need a 3 by 5 to be the center of the design. And we're going to use the pearls around it again. So this one gets cut to 3 by 4 inches. 3 by 4 inches, not 3 by 5. 3 by 4 inches. So right now it's almost 4 inches. I'm going to take a 1/2 inch off either side. And then I'm going to cut it to 4 inches long. I'm going to put that in the middle, and I'll put my frame right around it. Look at that pretty framed picture. So this is going to be a 3 by 4. Okay, I'm going to get my drop-down trimmer. I'm going to trim and make a 1/2 inch frame. If you have rectangle dies, you could probably set your rectangle dies up to make these frames for you so you didn't have to drop down cut all of these pieces. Pop out the extra. Might have to clip it a little bit. It doesn't seem like I cut through. Oh, it came through. Okay, we're saving this as always. This part gets its tape. Well, happy birthday to both Tanya and Adeline. They both had birthdays. Tanya just had hers, and Adeline has hers coming up. You could definitely do the same techniques with distress inks that we're doing with the with the graphic 45 ink. The one thing that I would say is you might want to think twice about putting ink on the outside of the envelope, because if it gets damp, it's going to run uh, the Tim Holtz distress inks, because they're all water reactive, and that's why the hybrid ink is a better choice here. But if you're so you might just consider using paper only on the envelope to decorate. Maybe use a strip of paper instead of making the waves on the envelope if you're using distress inks. Just a thought. Put our frame down. There we go. Isn't that just pretty? I love that. This time we're going to use 2 tags on the front. Let's be on the inside. There we are. My ephemera pieces. I'm going to use, well, this must be for my envelope. Yes. See, here's some of the little stamps that you can use on the outside of your envelope. I'll put these away for use on my envelope later. And I'm going to put this big oyster shell over the oyster shell in my picture, actually. And put it on the frame right above that. And then I'm going to put Seize the Day here. Might be kind of fun to have a little piece of foam behind Seize the Day. I think I'll do that. Why not? It's here. I have it. Let's just prop this one up a little bit. I cut the little tag top off of Seize the Day. It just made it a little signboard instead of a tag. And we'll put Seize the Day right here in the corner. And this one's ready to go. We go to the inside of her card. And we're going to get our pop-up mechanism. I'm going to fold it at 5/8, at 4 1/8, and 4 3/4. So my pop-up's going to look just like this. I'm going to put glue on my 2 tabs. The words are upside down on a few of my pop-ups. There isn't going to be enough of the actual words showing to worry about that. If I wanted them not to be upside down, I just needed to score them the other way around. But it doesn't matter because there's not going to be enough showing to worry about. Uh-oh. Almost forgot to put down my background piece. What is my background piece in this one? That's because I didn't get it into the envelope. Let's get one. I set up my papers right here. We need a background piece here. And I see it right there. This is the piece we want. So let's see. I need a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of this. There we go. That's going to work better. Yeah. My mom used to say I was spoiled rotten, and it was my dad's fault too. Some kids could say they were scarred because they didn't get a pony when they were a kid. I did. I was spoiled. I admit it. Okay, my glue's pretty dry there, so I better put a little more glue on there. I'll put this down properly then. Here we go. We will fold it down. We'll kind of fold our little tab under, and we will connect it right where that tab wants to go so that it folds nicely. Okay, next we are going to there. I needed my shells for. Next, we'll go ahead and put our shells down. I have a sand dollar. I'm going to put over here. I'm going to raise that fairly high. I'm going to put this pretty conch shell to the side of that. It's kind of fun that these cards have you writing on the left-hand side, because you've got all the pretty pattern happening on the right. Okay, I'm going to take this piece from my front, if I need to know. The pop-up mechanism just needed to be bent a little bit there. I'm going to put this pearl here. And remember, this time we're not gluing all the way around. We're gluing about a 1-inch strip to hold this piece in place on our pop-up brace. About 1/4 inch from the end of the pop-up. I'm going to check this one and make sure it's going to close all right, and it does. This time I'm using this tag, kind of a journaling tag with shells in it. It's on the back. It's Make a Splash or Born to be a Mermaid. Obviously, if you wanted to use one of those, you could. Lay that on. Close our card. And here we go. Here's number 3. Isn't it pretty? Okay. Got our pieces to make our envelope there. And let's see which one I didn't show you the envelope. It's this one. Here's our envelope for it. That's number 3. Let's see what's next. This one's fun. They're all fun, really. Oh, we finally get to make one that's horizontal, so we can skip the inking this time because I already made it, remember? Although I have to re-ink the front. This will be number 4. The kit for G45 card making is $35. That might seem high, and it is a little higher than most of our other kits, but I got 6 cards out of what I made here, and I will show you my leftovers as usual. I'm happy to do that. I'm sure you could get at least, by adding your own card bases and getting creative with some of your embellishments, I'm sure you could get at least 10 out of here. And then when you figure out what the price of that card is, what are you going to pay for a beautiful pop-up? First of all, you're never going to find anything as pretty. But what are you going to pay for a beautiful pop-up card at the store? Way more than $3.50. So, okay, this time I am using this pretty blue stripe in the background. This makes a really dramatic presentation. The blue stripe, and then on top of that we're going with the pearl. Isn't that dramatic? That's beautiful. So let's go ahead and glue this down. This time we're making a horizontal card. Okay, here we go. We're going to go ahead and cut our frame. Seems like we just did this. Let's do it again. Really is easy with this cutter. I do appreciate that about this one. I set it at my 1/2 inch cut mark, and then run it from a 1/2 inch to 4, and do the ends and go from a 1/2 inch to 3. Get these really quickly. That was well scored, well cut. It's popping right out. Okay, we're saving this, as we know. We use it on the inside. Turn on that other light there and see if it makes any difference, will you please? It really doesn't make much difference at all. Got a little more shadow. Might be able to see the colors a little better. Sending our best to you, Catherine. I'm sure that you'll be out soon and be watching our video, catching up on mermaids. Well, they admitted her. Oh, that's not good. I'm sorry you're not feeling well, Catherine. You may or may not know that Catherine is from France, Tanya. She's one of our friends across the pond. And Elsie, who joins us most of the time, we haven't seen her today yet, but Elsie, who joins us regularly, is from Norway. And Donna Stevens isn't here today. Donna is from Scotland. She's been here the last couple times. Maybe she'll pop in before we're done. Okay, we're going to get our pieces of ephemera here. Our envelope. I have a few of them this time. I'm going to use Make a Splash on top. I'm going to use 2 of my stamps, and I'm going to use 2 shells. Maybe just 1 shell, actually, now that I look at it again. Okay, well, let's just... Oh, you know what I just did, guys? I forgot to put my image down inside. Anybody catch me? We're going to have to go a little smaller and just slide it in this time. Oops! Where did my image go? That's because I didn't have it cut in here. Bless my heart. I can't make this work, though. I'm going to cut this. This is actually my envelope flap, but I'm going to use it so that we can finish this one. Get this off just a little bit more. Here's how to fix your card when you, if you do what I did. I'm just going to pop it right in there like that. Oh, you always know you're always going to see how to fix your boo-boos, because I often make them. I was just so excited about the 2 pretty colors that I forgot to put the image down first. Oops. I won't tell if you won't. It looks great. All right, let's make a splash at the top here. I'm going to actually put the little ruffles above the frame line, and I'm going to put the Make a Splash right on my frame. Annette says she taught me well. Okay, make a splash right in the center. We're going to put 2 of these little tags here. I'm going to put the starfish down here. I'm going to come in a little bit further. I may skip the shells and just come in a little bit further, just based on the image placement after my blender. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. And I'm going to bring this one out to the side because I want that one mermaid to show. So I'll go a little bit in the center. Just kind of gauging where to put my glue based on the images. What I might do is I'm going to put another piece over here in the opposite corner, which makes it a little bit different than my original, but that's okay. Oh boy. Okay. Next, I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to put my shell pattern up at the top here. That out of the way. My shell pattern up at the top. I'm going to get my pop-up mechanism ready to go here. I'm going to do it the same way we've been doing it, except we're doing it on an angle this time. This is just one of my favorite kits I've done. I said that a while ago, but it really is. I am truly enjoying this one. And it's not difficult. That's what's fun. It's not difficult. Easy cutting. I'm going to get my pearl paper, and I'm actually going to put this right here. Let me see if that's going to fit. I'm going to have to chop that down just a little because I want to use my pearl paper horizontally. And see, it's going to come out over the top, so I'm going to cut about a 1/2 inch off of this one. Let's see if we can stop that from popping out over the top. Bring it down here. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the center of my, hang on, of my pop-up mechanism. About 1/4 inch from the bottom. And that clears nicely. And then I'm going to use this beautiful, beautiful filigree plate piece out of my ephemera collection. And I'm going to put that right in the center of that pop-up piece, of that piece I just put on there. So pretty. Okay, and that closes fine. Now at the bottom here, what did I do with my paper back? I couldn't find one of my shells when I was putting my pieces together, and when I went to clean up, there it was, and I knew I had this one. So I'm gonna.
It says he watches football because that's when he punches out dies.
That's a good thing to do. Would you pour me some pop, please? Okay. So I'm gonna look at how I place these. I'm going to have this big one and maybe this little one here. This little one here. Just a bunch of shells on the seafloor. Oh, I like that. That's what I'm going with right there. Okay. So I got this big starfish. I'm going to put this little snail type shell next to that. And I'm going to put this little scallop shell next to that. They're so pretty, scallop shells. Oh, I love this one. Okay, here we go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. There we go. That's gorgeous. Let's see what envelope we used for this one. Where are my extra pieces? Where are my extra pieces? What did I do with them? These are my cutoffs. Over here? No? I don't know which envelope went with this one. Doesn't matter. You'll see them all eventually anyway. I'm going to say it was this one. That goes together. That actually makes sense since I had this piece here in. Oh, there was another one in there. Yeah, it was this one. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. Next, this is an extra paper. I'll move out of the way. Get rid of a few of my trimmings here so I don't get them confused with my pieces I've saved out. We got 2 left to go. What time is it? Oh, we're doing okay. 12:30. 12:30. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this one. They're pretty. Okay. So we have, this is another horizontal card. So we'll prep our card base here. All right. Let's go with inking. And we're going to start by inking all around the front cover. Doesn't matter if it goes wide because it's going to get covered up anyway. So we can go pretty fast. Doesn't matter if it gets dark in places because it's going to get covered up anyway. I actually kind of like that darker strip you get around the edge when you come off the card, start off the card and come in this darker edge here. I think that looks pretty. Okay, now we need to come inside and ink around here. Boy, these are pretty cards. Okay, we got our front cover, we got our top cover. Now we just need our water line. It's got buried under paper cutter and stuff. Okay, now I'll ink this up. Okay, just gonna tear this a little bit more. Tear off some of these soggy pieces. Like that. Okay. Here we go. Ready to work on it. Okay, the background this time is going to be this mermaid background that we used the picture off of last time. We'll put that down. Then this is going to be our frame. We're going to do something just so clever this time. Wait till you see. Okay. What are you doing?
Battery says it's gonna die.
Oh, your cord wasn't plugged in tight, huh?
Evidently somebody's been messing with it.
Well, yesterday was housekeeping day, or day before. They probably moved it. Okay, so where is my interior picture? A 3x4. I don't seem to have one. Well, I'll cut one. I had a class coming in when I was working on getting all these cuts done yesterday, and I kept stopping to chat with everybody who was coming in. But I wanted to get it done last night because I knew I wouldn't come out this morning and do it. So we're going to take a piece of foundation. This. That's almost the right size. Let's see. 3.5. 3.5 by 4. Good. So we'll make this 3 by 4. And we have our background. Yay me. That probably was the piece that was being prepared to go here. This time I'm going to remember to put the image in the back. Isn't that something? Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Okay, let's go ahead and prepare our frame. Let's need this cutter. Got to be able to lift the blade, which I can't do with my Caterpillar that I use all the time. It only cuts through. Got our frame. Okay. We're going to put this around here. See if we have enough tape on this roll to go with this one. Now, one thing you could do here, we haven't talked about, but you could, if you wanted to, put tape on just 3 sides of this frame and slide a photo in if that was your desire. These make great photo frames too. So that you just put it this way and then slide your photo in. Beautiful. Beautiful. Go ahead and center this. Take my hair out of it. Okay. Now we're going to get our embellishments out. One of the embellishments we're going to get is this pearl frame. We're actually going to glue that on top of our blue frame we just did. Looks gorgeous. Then we need mermaid. It actually says born to be a mermaid, and we need this mermaid swimming across, and we need this starfish. Beautiful. So I'm going to put the mermaid on first. Actually, I'm going to put the frame on first. Okay. And this frame fits very nicely right around the edge. I'm putting it there. We're going to put this mermaid where she's kind of propped up between the 2 sides. So she gets a little glue on this end and a little glue on this end. And she will be dimensional that way. And then I'm going to be putting the born to be a mermaid right here at the bottom. I'm going to let those banner pieces kind of slide down a little bit. And I'm going to put a starfish on this corner. Love the dimension in this one. You can kind of see her standing out from background. All right. On the inside of this one, we have scales. Interesting, I cut my scale sideways, but that's okay. Okay, that's for my envelope. That's for my envelope. This one, this one, this one are for in here. And this is for in here. Got one of those fun fish that I'm going to put on top of the waves. Love my little needle nose glue bottle. Okay. I got that. Next, we're going to make our hinge, which is scored at 5/8, 4 1/8, and 4 3/4. We will put some glue on here and attach this hinge just below the fold, just enough to allow that to open and close well. I'll put some glue on this very last fold, and we will hold that up. Now with this one, we're going to have to cut both of these down because see what happens? They go over the top. So we're going to cut both of these down. I'm going to cut about an inch off of, well, yeah, I think about an inch. I'm going to make it 2.5 inches long off of the frame piece. And then I'm going to cut this one down, which, by the way, is the back of The Sea is Calling. It has that fun little fish on it. I'm going to make that 2.5 inches long, too. So I'll glue this one in place, putting the glue right in the middle where it's going to go on that pop-up mechanism. And I'm going to put this seahorse just a little to the side. I should have got a little bit left with that. Go a little bit further left, so this is more. Okay. And I'm going to put glue down the side and across the bottom where it's going to attach to that other piece. And it folds up nicely inside. So let's see this one. There we go. Card number 5. And the ones that I saved for my envelope this time, I thought it might be fun to have some envelopes where I just put a strip of paper instead of everything else on it. So let's just do that envelope real quickly. I thought it would be pretty to just put one of these It'd be prettier if it was cut straight. One of these starfish borders right across the bottom, as opposed to inking everything, just for something different. Sometimes you have some little strips left, and I don't know about you, I always feel successful when I can manage to use up as many as possible of the little strips and have very little, if any, throwaway. That just makes me happy. Put a bit of this shell pattern on my envelope. I think you need to cut this envelope tab just a little wider than I told you. Let me remeasure it and I'll tell you what a better measure would be. The total width of the envelope is 5 5/8. I cut them to 5 1/2. So I have a little tiny bit of white showing. Now, what I could do about that is just simply trim the white off. It's not going to be integral to holding the, holding the contents in. So I think that's what I'll do here, is just trim that little white bit off that's still showing, and just trim out my shell paper around the flap. So we got our card, we got our envelope. We could still put a stamp or something on it if we wanted to. And if I'm going to mail it through the post office, I might want to consider making this border just a little bit narrower, so I make sure that I allow that 1/2 inch that the post office wants. Isn't it pretty? Okay. That is done. One card left, guys. All right. This one's called Make a Splash. Let's get going here. This one is a vertical. Now, last time I did this in blue ink. We can do it in blue ink again, just to see the difference between the two. The blue ink, I do remember, is very, very liquidy compared to the purple. This is called Marine Blue. It's also a hybrid pad from G45. And I'm going to have a dauber sheet ready to go for this, because it really does pick up a lot of ink. But we get that very nice light blue going around here, which will look pretty. You can tell it has a lot of ink in the brush because I did the entire thing without re-inking. And still see a lot of ink on my glass. So get rid of that. Okay, let's go to here. Look at that, I haven't re-inked yet. I don't know what it is about blue ink that just carries and carries and carries, but it does. Remember when we were doing the Jamie powders and the blue ink just took over from the others? It's actually quite pretty though. Getting that nice soft blue around the edges like that. Okay, let's use our stencil, which is right here. And tear off a little bit more. I'll let my bottom layer be pretty dark. Come in, not brushing quite as hard on the second layer. And then I don't think I'll re-ink before I do my top layer. That looks pretty. Okay, well, didn't I just say this was a horizontal card? It's not a horizontal card, it's a vertical card. I might just have to make something out of that now. I just inked it the wrong direction. Don't know why. Just had an inclination I needed to do that. One thing about it, it was really fast to ink, so this is supposed to be a vertical. So let's try it again. Well, got it dark there. That's all right. I messed up twice on the horizontal versus vertical today. Would have been a good idea to ink all my stuff in advance instead of trying to do it in a hurry. But that's all right. Just allow me to make another card. And a little more blue. Brush it off a little. Got a nice light on that one. I just did this wrong again. I think we can make that work. Wow. Getting hungry. I'm careless. Sorry, guys, but that's all right. We'll make it work. This is the side that was supposed to be matted. Oh, we'll make it work. We're going to put the ocean down here. You can always count on me to come up with something unusual that I managed to do wrong, so we can figure out how to do it right when we do that. Okay, we're just going to have a haze around this one, which is fine. I actually don't mind that. I'm just going to make it look like I did it on purpose. I'll try to make it look that way. At least it's not real dark anywhere except in the ocean. All right. Let's go back to the front. On the front of this card, we are going to use the blue fish and starfish and mermaids, this blue piece. It's cut to 4 1/4 by, excuse me, no, it's cut to 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And then we're going to use this viney frame. We're going to use the inside, the cover art to be our art in the inside the frame. So we want that art to be 3 by 4 inches, which I think we can get pretty easily here. 4. That looks pretty good. So this gets glued down. Here's how I trimmed it. We're going to go ahead and put this down inside. We're going to cut this with our drop-down blade. Last time we're doing this. Well, unless we make something out of that other card. Okay. All right. So we're going to use the viney side of this. Need another roll of that tape. Lasted really well, though. I made 12 cards out of this one roll. I'm actually on my 12th card out of this one roll. I can't complain about that. Bob told Bryce the other night he was going to head home soon. Bryce said, "Okay, Dad, just right down the hallway there. That's your room." Yeah, I think you better head home soon. Sounded exactly like he sounded 20 years ago, didn't he, Bryce?
Yeah.
I think you better head home soon. Okay, we got our frame taped on the wrong side, but that's okay. It's time to quit. Okay, I'm going to get my embellishment out of the envelope. Should be in here. Where's my make a splash? There's that one. There it is. I really like the way they do this one. Although I'm going to trim the tip of my tail just a little bit, because otherwise you completely cover up the lower side of the mermaid. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit, and I'm going to trim it this time. This is what I'm talking about. It goes way up on the mermaid on this one in order to get it within the bounds of the card. But this time I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to trim this embellishment a little bit so that we can see more of our mermaid. I like that better. And I'll just trim these little bits off. Don't hurt anything. I like that a lot better. But one of the things I love that they did is in this S, they put this sea snail shell, glued it right into the S. It looks so cute. I'll show you after I get it in there. And it fits just perfect within the S too. Isn't that fun? Okay, going to the inside, we're going to have our seahorse doing his thing. I'll put him over on this side. That actually looks pretty good. I don't mind so much that I messed up in my inking. It looks pretty good. Now that I look at it again, I'm going to put, I used the same art on the inside that I used on the outside because I had a piece of it sitting here. So I'm going to, this is what that border sheet looks like before you cut it apart. So you can cut those borders to make the mechanism for these really easily at whatever width you want to go. Okay, here we have our final mechanism. Scored at 5/8 inch, 4 1/8, 4 3/4. We're going to glue that inside here. Right there. We're going to put a little glue on the tab. And drop that right over here. Flat out so that when it opens, the push-up happens. We're going to put I have to decide which of these two sides I want since I switched on the front. All the fish in the sea. I love you more than all the fish in the sea goes on this one. It's pretty high, so I want to make sure it's going to clear. So I'm going to put this viney pattern down a little ways. So that I can glue this onto it and know that everything is going to clear just fine. It's really been fun to have you with us today, Tanya. Okay, I talked about maybe making another card, but I got to tell you guys, I think I'm done. Making more mistakes than I am satisfactory completion. So I think there comes a time you just have to say enough's enough. That's much better though this time. Look. Isn't it better? Way down on the mermaid and trimming the tails a little bit. I like that much better. And I want to show you the inside because the inside is different on the two because I over inked, but I actually think that's really pretty. Versus this. I think it almost looks better where I inked around it and have some sky. Doesn't it look good? Yeah. There we go. And we had a final envelope for that one. Seashells, little postage stamp. So there we go. We have finished 6 cards. You want to see them all in one place? Here we go. That's not the right one. We have this one. We have this one. We have this one. We have this one. The inside of this one's my favorite. We have this one. And we have this one. I think this one might be my favorite on the outside. Okie dokie. There we go. Whew. Now, Margie will be here on Thursday to do the Hello Pumpkin. I know we're giving you a lot of graphic 45 right in a row. But then following week, I'm going to start my series on the Hunky Dory Deco Large. So we're going to have lots of Hunky Dory there. And we'll have some Find It Trading coming up. We have some heartfelt creations. I'm still going to do the pansies. I just delayed it because I want to do justice to it, and I was afraid if I rushed I wouldn't. So I want to show you what I had left. I had this. I have all these beautiful toppers left. I have a nice Make a Splash and a beautiful mermaid that could be cut to be the center of my card. I have more of the toppers and this beautiful lined paper left. I have a couple of images. If I had images left that I thought would be pretty to use, I kept those. I just threw away the smallest scraps. I have this. I have this. I have this. All these toppers. And these are journaling cards on the back. I have this full sheet left. with the purple on the back. I've got this full sheet left, the same. I've got this full sheet left. I've got this full sheet left. I've got a full title sheet left, and that has the pearls on the back. And I have more journaling cards left. So you look at that and you think, if we use 4-inch cuts instead of 4 1/8 for the biggest pieces, I know you could get 4 to 6 more cards out of this easily. Very easily. You just need to add some more 4 1/4 by 5 1/2-inch cards to it, and you could easily get more out of this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this today. I love making these cards. It's been great fun. If you haven't already done it, please hit the thumbs up button. It not only makes me feel good, it helps to have YouTube recommend our channel to new crafty friends. And we're always on the lookout for new friends, aren't we? So the other thing you can do that will help me in getting YouTube to recommend our channel is to leave a little comment under the video box. It can be anything, that you like the cards today, you especially like this one or that one, something you'd like to see in the future. Any kind of a kind comment would be greatly appreciated. And I read and answer all of those comments, so I sure would like it if you do that for me. And yeah, remember, you can use these same ideas to use the paper you have on hand. And I liked our whole discussion about how to do, how to use your stash of paper. If you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss anything that we're up to. We have fun every time we get together. So for now, unless there are questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom, I'll give you just a minute. Any pearls of wisdom? I think we'll say good night, Gracie.